What's up, world? You are now rocking with the voice of the South, Chris Smith from 98.7 Kiss FM. Today's R&B and classic soul. Right now, I got a special guest in the building. Got a legend, man. Let me go ahead and break it down to who I'm chilling with right now. He was originally signed to Bad Boy Records. He's also Grammy nominated, and his hit single Emotional landed on the 2001 Shaft soundtrack, which went certified platinum. He was also nominated for Best Male R&B Soul Album and Best R&B Soul or Rap New Artist at the Soul Train Music Awards. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my main man, the legendary Carl Thomas. How you doing today, my brother?
What up, man?
Good, good.
What's
nice
going on
to meet
with
you,
yourself?
man. Yeah, nothing much, man. You been doing good today?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm really good.
So what brings you to Birmingham, Carl?
Man, well, you know, I actually came here for a wedding.
Okay. Wedding
I
passion,
actually came here for a wedding, man. But I love coming through town. You know, these are some of the really. Honestly, whenever I've played here, you know, everybody really, you know, show up and show out. And these are some solid R&B fans. You know, this is like one of the markets that most of my friends in R&B, you know, they have to come through.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So I want to, you know, run it back before you were signed to Bad Boy Records. Yeah, because that was your third record label that you were signed to, correct? Fourth, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So talk to me about the early days of when you started music. What was that like? How did that help you develop your sound?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it was the issue of developing a sound. It was really a process of the sound. The sound really came with my choices. The sound changed. The sound changed with the different choices that I made, you know, in my career. There was one time my sound sounded like this, and it's because I was making certain choices. And then it sounded like this, and then I started making different choices, and then the sound changed with that. You know what I mean? So for me, it really wasn't. You know, trying to find a sound. It's just where you caught me at. You know, like when people listen to Emotional, Emotional was the product of a series of choices that I made.
Right.
You know, and it sounded like that because, you know, the sound was the result.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you know, with you, you know, trying to, you know, have this sound, what was that moment when you found out that you had that particular sound that you wanted to share it with the rest of the world?
Man, I've always had things that I wanted people to hear from me. Like, you know, I was 14 years old, singing in a high school, you know, Christmas show. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost living as you know. Now, of course, I know Nat King Cole did that, but I always wanted people to hear it from me.
Right.
You know, my version of it, what I could do different with it, you know, things like that. So for me, it was just kind of wanting to let my expression, you know, be out there in the forefront. It really wasn't so much about, you know, like I said before, like finding a sound or anything like that. Or, you know, I just really wanted the world to hear my version of R&B. Because I can't sit here and say, okay, I am R&B. You know, I sing R&B, but this is my version of it. Just like I may want you to hear my version of a country record. You know what I mean?
Right.
My version of a, you know, a nursery rhyme, or my version of this, or my version of that. You know, it's all coming from me, you know, through a musical lens.
Basically just like customizing things for yourself.
Yeah, basically. A lot of people don't know this, but Luther Vandross made his entire career off of remix.
Wow.
And he took songs that were written by other people, and what he called it was Lutherizing the songs, personalizing those records with his handprint and his footprint on them joints, you know. And he did it so well to the point to where people really didn't know that wasn't Luther's song.
Hmm.
You know, that didn't belong to Luther. Oh wow, that was. You hear Karen Carpenter singing her song, and you think it belongs to Luther because
Exactly.
he personalized.
Or maybe like a Mary J. Blige who
Yeah.
really made songs, or
Absolutely.
Marvin Gaye.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
They just basically made it their own. That's
Yep.
smart. That's
Yep.
smart. So also, you've done some work with Left Eye, TLC member, on
Absolutely.
the song Supernova. So
Yeah.
talk to me about that experience. What was it like working with Left Eye, and how did you guys come together to collab on that song?
Well, working with Lisa was really creative curiosity
Mm.
because she has so much inside of her that the world never even understood was there, that it made me extremely curious. You know, before she was a solo artist, before she decided to do a solo project, I'm saying,
Mm.
I really wasn't curious like that because I kind of felt like, okay, I see and know what she has to offer and what have you. But when she started that Supernova project, all of these different things that I never knew was there, you know, started to come out of her. And me working on the project was, you know, man, like, this is like a dream to see what this would sound like.
Yeah, so like when you guys were working together, what were some of the conversations or things that you guys talked about with each other?
Oh, we had some really good conversations at a restaurant in New York, actually called the Spotted Pig.
The Spotted Pig.
Yeah.
A lot of pork, huh?
Yeah. We had a really good conversation, just about theory and, you know, how we felt about music. And I was just, you know, really curious at the time as far as you know, where she was coming from with this whole solo expression. You know what I mean? Because honestly, you know, in the world, it's like when you look at TLC,
Right.
you look at TLC, you know, you think you know them.
Right.
And then they get into these individual components, and then you realize, oh wow, you know, there's just a whole lot more, you know, going on to that. You know what I'm saying?
Dang, so just to know that you were, you know, sort of a part of TLC's legacy is amazing. So how does that feel knowing that you...
Am I?
Yeah, you know, just for the simple fact that you worked with, you know, Left Eye and everything.
I'm like, wait a minute, am I a part of that?
Yeah, like
Wow,
you basically
even
part
that.
of that because, you know, you were able to experience what it was like, you know, firsthand to be able to work with one of those members. So, or even with the other members as well. So that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, talk to me about Bad Boy Records. How did you, you know, link up with P. Diddy?
I met Puff at an open mic at the time, who lived in the neighborhood that I lived in. Big was asked to go and open up for R. Kelly's 12-play tour. And that was like really huge. But like everybody in Brooklyn was like, oh, like, like, you know what I mean?
This is back,
yeah, like he was asked to go out and open up for R. Kelly. And then the day that he got off that tour was a Sunday morning. And the club that I sang at was on a Sunday night. So they was just looking for somewhere to chill and go to. And came to Chaz and Wilson's where I was. And I was really just normally doing my regular Sunday night thing. Really. You know, me and Puff had a conversation that night that just kind of turned into other conversations. And, you know, he took a real risk on me because while we were negotiating, we made a whole lot of money. He made me a whole lot of money while we were negotiating. And I could have very easily been like, I'm good.
I'm good.
You know what I mean? But I felt like the anomaly of an artist like myself being on a hip hop label like Bad Boy just might work. Well, I was doing open mic actually, you know, Like I said, you know, a lot of people don't really know that Emotional was 13 years in the making.
Wow.
And it's like one of the reasons why, one of the reasons that I learned not to take myself so serious all the time is being dropped from a label, the humbling experience of getting a pink slip, of them going, oh yeah, we're no longer in need of your services, but thanks.
That's messed up. So 13 years?
Yeah, actually, yeah. You know, Emotional kind of came about by default. You know, I was singing, you can look this up and you'll find out on your own. So
Right.
it's all right. I was singing with a group called The Formula on Epic Records. And the president of the label that signed us left. His name was Hank Caldwell. He left to go be the president of Death Row Records. So you know, things got really political, and once again, we got dropped. And the other two guys in the group had just really had it with the music business. So literally, I was at a fork on the road where it was like, okay, what are you gonna do? You can either continue, or you can do what they did. You know what I mean? And kind of, you know, they went and kind of, you know, just, you know, chose to join the workforce, and that's cool. But I kind of felt like I really had no choice but to continue. The only thing is that I didn't really know how, you know, to continue, because, and I was kind of resentful, because then I realized how lazy I was as a singer, because when you sing in a group, it's always shared work. You know what I mean? It's always shared work, and you're never doing everything on your own. And then when I became a solo artist, it was like,
oh, now I really have to work.
I think I might have been shit.
Exactly. Hey, where's my help when I need it? Exactly.
It's like, yeah. I mean, you only have you to rely on, you know. So that you know, how you said that grew me up. How you said, you know, while I understood the magnitude of what I was dealing with, at the same time, the creativity was first and foremost. The artistry was first and foremost. You know, what kind of artist is this gonna produce in me? Like, it was so much of a risk. You know what I mean?
Right.
Doing a deal with Bad Boy was so much of a risk that I didn't really have time to marvel.
So what made you want to take that risk instead?
Because there wasn't a reason not to. There wasn't a reason not to. Realistically, I mean, you know, come on. There was not a, like, I'm not even 30 years old. I'm not even nowhere near it. Why not? Like,
might as well.
You know what I mean? Like, you got time to wipe out and rebuild.
So it's all about taking those chances.
Yeah, definitely. I believe in that. You know, I try to tell young artists right now who are, you know, maybe, you know, you're an 18-year-old artist and, you know, you're just out there trying to figure it out. You have to be your first fan first.
That's true.
You know, before you're trying to go out there and get somebody else to believe it. Because they know when you don't believe it.
That's
You
true.
ain't convinced. Just, you know, I saw something, I was enjoying that Travis Scott documentary. You know.
Yeah, the one on Netflix.
The one on Netflix.
I was watching that.
And one thing that I got from that documentary about him is how he believed when nobody was there.
That's true.
I mean it. That's one thing you will take away from that documentary. When nobody was there, he believed.
And he started when he was very young.
He believed.
Yes.
I was like, oh, this kid. Oh. He knew it when there was 13 people in the audience.
I remember that. Yeah.
He knew it. Nobody else knew it. And in his mind, he was going, they don't know yet, but they'll find out.
And that's what
they'll find out. They don't know yet. They're like, oh.
And it takes takes that type of mindset in order for you to, you know, move
Absolutely.
forward. Because if you don't have
absolutely,
that,
you have to block out. You have to block out everyone putting their limitations on you. What they didn't achieve, I couldn't do it, so you can't either.
So despite the 13-year wait and, you know, going through all of those trials and tribulations, that's basically what you had. You had that exact same mindset as Travis, right?
Well, I mean, for me, it was always about this. We live right now to where people do shows so they can make albums. You know what I mean? But we get albums so that we can do shows.
It's true.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for me, it was always about the live show. It was always about competition. It was always about, I really love the rivalry between Sam Cooke and Jackie Wilson. It was organic, it was natural. They were friends, they laughed about it later. They went and partied after the concert, but on stage they went at each other.
Right.
And it was serious. It was like, hey, yo, check this out, I love you, but my job is to make your fans my fans. You know what I mean? So that was just always the spark for me. You know, that was the spark for me. You know, trying my best to be better than the other guy.
Wow,
you know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
staying one step ahead.
Yeah, just staying one step ahead and what have you. That now in the studio, it's not a competition. In the studio, it's about the best expression. And how can I express myself in the most honest manner? Like, the coolest thing about Emotional was that I found really beautiful ways to say cool things that I was going through in love as a young man. Frustrated as hell. This is frustrated, you know, but I found really cool ways to say, you ain't right. You know what I mean? You know, I'm working hard, 50 hours a week, paying for the car. You know what I mean? I found beautiful ways to complain, which is something that men are never supposed to do.
That's true.
We're not supposed to complain. We're supposed to get popped on the back of the head and walk it off.
With art imitating life,
Yeah.
you know, you can't help but to express your pain somehow, some way, because you can't really hold it in.
Right. But that album, when it was done, I swear to God, it was therapy. You know, it was hard to listen to, and it's still hard to listen to because I'm so busy performing it all the time. Like, it's hard to listen to because I'm really busy being it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or trying to reach that. Remember what we talked about earlier?
Right.
What we talked about earlier about the word? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to reach that space. You know what I mean? I'm not that sweater wearing romantic guy every day. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I'm not that guy. But that is the projected image of self that I'm reaching for. I really do want to be that understanding guy.
I got you.
I'm not him all the time. Sometimes I'm going to give you crap.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is about being
and
human.
I'm going to give you, oh my God, I'm so sick of him. I'm going to give you that sometimes, but I have a goal. And that's what that Carl Thomas artistry, the character of the artist, that's what he represents. That's not what I am. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, come on.
That's just part of it.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, but a large part of myself is that guy. Yeah.
okay, and so, you know, we were talking about Emotional, let's talk about I Wish, because you were actually talking about some deep stuff in that song, like she was married with children and I wish I never met her. Was that like a real life situation, or what made you come up with the concept for that song?
Well, the song itself is like proves that God has a sense of humor. You know, the girl that I was actually talking about is like 500 pounds right now. So it's cool.
One of the high school crushes and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tell me God don't have a sense of humor. No, I really don't. I wish it's about seeing the exit sign before you saw the entrance. And that's really in a nutshell what that song is about.
Okay.
How many times have you been in situations where, dang, I wish I would have saw the exit sign first. But
see, the thing about that song is, and even with your other songs, it taps into the emotional side of, you know, things, and it really touches you. And in today's R&B, you know, I feel
when
like
you say emotional side of things, what do you mean?
I mean, as far as you can feel sad, or, you know, just feel as if you're kind of listening to how you feel.
So you mean the song kind of taps into the human side?
Yeah. For instance, like, you know, whenever, you know, I was going through a breakup, I was, you know, thinking, dang, I wish I would have never met that girl because of all of the different things that we, you know, been through, and I ended up catching feelings, and now we're not together anymore. It's like, dang, I wish we never would have had any of that happen at all. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's
but then again, you know, you got to look at it like this. I wish that song is an impulse. You feel me?
Yeah. What do you mean by that? Like,
it's an impulse. It's an impulse. I wish I would have never met that girl. You ironing your clothes and you accidentally touch the iron and go, ah! That's all I wish it is. That's all that is.
Basically.
It's an impulse.
Just an impulse.
Yeah. It's not necessarily what's good for you, because you were supposed to go through that.
It's basically a lesson.
Supposed to go through that.
Yeah, and that all ties in with the
Yeah,
muscle
you were
bruises
supposed to go through that. Absolutely.
And so with today's R&B music, do you feel like a lot of the artists know how to do that, at least create impulses?
Sure.
Yeah. How do you feel about, you know, today's R&B music?
It's just a ripple in time. It's just all like waves. You know, that's the reason, you know, you ever hear these kids call it, that's the wave? Or they use the term wave. How is a wave created? You get what I'm saying? A wave is a ripple. So it is all relative. It is all relative. I don't really like the narrative that today's R&B somehow doesn't offer you something. I don't really like that. If you listen, if you listen, the man-made measurement of time will repeat itself and say the same things to you in a different style, but the same thing to you will say the same things. And let me stress that, the man-made measurement of time.
Man-made measurement. Man-made.
The man-made measurement of time, meaning it's something, it's perversion of the value system. It's not real.
Sort of like the Matrix.
Yeah. Well, I know, not like that. Not like
Not
the
like
Matrix.
that.
No, not like the Matrix. But it is a somewhat of a you know, it's not real. It's not real. You can learn just as much. You can learn just as much from Joe as you can from listening to Sam Cooke, as you can from listening to Brooke Benton or whatever. But you know, I don't really like the narrative that people are trying to say that today's R&B really doesn't offer you something, or they're not upholding a certain standard, or they're, you know, they've somewhat fallen off or whatnot. And I don't believe that. That's just really not true. You know what I mean? Because I swear to God, every time Chris Brown and I talk, I make sure that I tell him how much I enjoy his expression. It's really, really honest. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
it's really, really clean and honest.
And you also have a single that you dropped last year
One with
called
Heaven.
One with Heaven.
Yeah, One with Heaven.
I really like that music video.
Yeah, yeah.
And everything. What was that
song. The lyrics are from someone we call our mother. She is a poet by the name of Gilda Lapidad, and she is from Israel, and she has traveled the world writing children's books and doing poetry. She actually has traveled with Deepak Chopra. You know what I mean? And she is someone who is very, very just an inspirational human. And when I heard her poetry, I actually produced the music to One With Heaven. And when I heard those lyrics, that's just, you know, the track that I came up with.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it's just very refreshing. I feel like it's another timeless song.
Man, if I can make a piece that exists outside of that, I consider myself doing something. So thanks.
You know, moving fast forward in 2019, what can we expect from Carl Thomas?
We can expect a lot of things. We can definitely
Okay.
expect new music, and we can definitely expect new music. There's a couple of fun things I'm doing. I'm putting out some Christmas songs this year, and Christmas is fun.
Right.
It's fun. It's fun.
Gotta love the holidays.
It's fun. But I'm putting out some Christmas songs, and anybody that knows me knows that I am a big dog person. So I am putting together an EP of songs that are all about the relationship between people and their dogs.
Dogs is the man's best friend.
Yeah. I don't know if dog is the man's best friend, but I know they pretty cool.
There's certain dogs. You can't get a pit bull or something like that.
Oh no, pit bulls are lovable animals, man. Pit bulls are lovable dogs. I'm telling you, pit bulls are among the most lovable dogs.
I don't know. I've had really bad experiences.
Yeah.
But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The legendary Carl Thomas. We truly appreciate you for stopping in, man.
Much appreciated and related. Yes.